Hey everyone, Nick here. Now I've been getting a lot of requests, so today I'm going to show you how I made this pair of rebar tongs. I'm starting out with two pieces of 1/2 inch rebar. These are a little on the long side so that I'll have something to hold on to while I'm working with them. Now it's time to fire up the forge and let it come up to temperature. Once the forge is heated up, I place my pieces of rebar in. I create one of the tong jaws by forging 3 inches of the end of the bar into a rectangular cross section. Then I turn the bar and flatten out a 2-inch section that will become the pivot for the tongs. I'm making sure that the pivot area is offset when forging, so that when both handles are done, they can fit together nicely. Once the pivot is done, I go back to the jaws and just clean them up and make sure they have that nice rectangular cross section. I've gone ahead and I've done the same thing to the other bar. Now you can see how the two pivot areas fit together. I heat up one of the jaws and take it back to the anvil, and then drive it upward, and then curve it back around. I make sure everything's straight, and here's the basic shape of the jaw. And now I've finished the jaw by forging the very end backwards. This is going to be the portion that will hold on to material. Once the end of the jaw is formed, I make some adjustments so that both of the jaws will fit together. So here they are. Now it's time to start drifting the pivot point. I'm using a tapered punch to punch a 1/4 inch hole. While you could drill the pivot, drilling removes more material than punching, and so this way it'll be a little stronger. I take it back to the forge one more time and straighten everything out, make sure that everything's even. Now it's time to set the pivot pin. The pivot pin is a piece of 1/4 inch diameter mild steel cut to 3/4 inches long. I start by lightly tapping it into one of the pivot holes. Then I turn it around and set the other handle. Once both handles are centered on the pivot pin, I give it a few whacks to lock it in place. I open and close the jaws a few times just to make sure that the pivot isn't too tight. I use a ball-peen hammer starting around the outside of the pin and then working my way to the inside to create a domed rivet. This helps lock the handles into place, and I think it looks good. Now that the pivot is finished, I take it back to the anvil and just adjust both jaws so that they fit together nicely. Next, I bring the jaws up to a red heat and dunk them into a bucket. Once the jaws are cool, I bend the handles together till they're a comfortable distance apart. This way I'm both hardening the jaws and adjusting the handles at the same time. Now that the forging is finished, I use a cutoff wheel on my angle grinder to cut the handles down to 16 inches from the end of the handle to the pivot point. This is my favorite length for tongs, though you can make them longer or shorter depending on your needs. So here it is, all finished up. If you like this video, be sure to check out my channel for other videos like this. And I've also written several books on different topics, including knife making, and you can check out the links to those in the description below. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. If you want to keep up with some of the things I'm doing, my interests, and some future projects, be sure to check out my second channel, where I'll have a bunch of vlogs, tool restorations, and different things that don't really fit into this channel.